What is up, YouTube and all my fish keeping friends? How y'all doing out there in fish tank land? This is Joseph Harden from JH Aquatics, and today is my Sunday live stream. I don't know how this stream is going. It looks like I'm dropping some frames, but I'm gonna go with it. If it's lagging or crazy, just let me know. But yeah, it's really good to be here on my day off before I go back to work Sunday. My day to play with my fish and hang out with my fish keeping friends. Hope you guys are doing well. Just let me know if there's any lag or anything going on, anything if it's acting rough. I can maybe mess with the bandwidth real quick and then move on from that. Wow, it's good to see everybody up in here. Let me try to open up this chat a little bit bigger. Whew. Let's see. Wow, Carbon really is in here. Pamela 54 Punchy, how are you? Jesse, Honeybee, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well and healing up. Let's see. Top Secret Aquatics. D from Down the Wormhole, enjoyed your stream. I got to watch like the whole thing. I got lucky and made it in there for most all of that. Matthew Moore Cichlids, how are you? K-Town Reefer, what is up? Desert Bloom Betas, what is up? Chris, like the new logo, saw that earlier, that's awesome. Aquarium Thoughts, how are you? Knackered Aquarist, what is up? Let's see, Wet Sleeves, Alluring Beta. Very cool. Priscilla, you made it. I know it's your lunchtime, but it's awesome that you made it in here. That's really cool. Cichlid Strain Hunter, that's a cool. I gotta check that channel out. I have not. That's a new channel for me. Hope I'm not haven't been missing that forever. No lag here. Awesome. Big City Betas, how are you? Good to see you in here. I was making a joke to Taylor that I enjoy having my beta sorority join the stream. It's really nice to have you all in here. Oh, I turned off the air conditioning for this stream and closed up the blinds so it's nice and dark in here. I'm feeling the heat already. We'll see how long I go before we get beads of sweat on my forehead. So you saw my my thumbnail. That was pretty cool. The thumbnail was created by DPK Fish Aquariums. Most of you probably know him from the community here, from the #FishFam community here. He does some pretty cool. Plays around with some graphics. I guess he went to school for it, and he was messing around this weekend and making up some graphics for a few people in the fish keeping community on YouTube, and he got me good on a couple of them. But I really liked this one, so I made a thumbnail out of it. You know, I asked him, email me the graphics, and the graphics were like incredible. Like it was quality PNG file. Very large, really heavy DPI. It's really good stuff. I was like thinking I might have to hire him to make some of the graphics for me, to be completely honest. Let's see. So I have that one. There's a couple other goofy ones, but this one was my favorite that he did. Fish Nerd, how are you? Good to see you in here, man. Mr. B's Fishing Things. Toki's Pigeon Loft, what's up? What's Alexander, The Secret Life Living in Your Aquarium? How are you, man? Caught your stream last night for a little bit there before I fell asleep on the couch. Thank you, Honeybee. I'm having fun with the lights. Having a little fun with the lights. That's my there's my light show for you. Whoa, that's not cool. All right, let's get it back. There we go. That's where we need to be. Koi Beta Fin Addicts, how are you? Jesse, I already caught you in here. Passion for Pets, what's up? Jordan, you went back to Alluring Betas, I see. Changed the name back to Alluring Betas. Yeah, Cichlid Strain Hunters. I'm definitely going to have to check that out for sure. I'm definitely going to have to check out your channel. ProTim Aquatics, how are you? I saw an interesting video that you did just recently. Gave me an idea. I've been working on a fish food recipe, and very similar to what you were doing where you were medicating it, and I was going to make a video, so don't think that I'm just I have a video coming up about that, but I'm not trying to copy you, but it's a really good idea. I don't know how many people actually kind of go through that process, but you can create some really cool medicated foods. So I got a video coming up on that. It's pretty cool. But I liked your video. Definitely, it's a good idea. Let's see. So from the looks of my thumbnail, you could see that it was kind of like clickbait. I wasn't really planning on showing wild guppies today, but I do have a collection of wild guppies that I just recently collected for a few people. I have a couple hundred of them in an aquarium, so I was going to show that to you guys because a few people, you know, kind of asked for that. So I am going to go ahead and show you those at a little bit later. First, I want to go ahead and show you guys the new fish that I just received that were wild caught from Peru. I did collect a bunch of these when we were in Peru, and they're very, very sensitive fish. Very sensitive fish. If you touch these fish with your bare hands, just damaging the slime coat would stress them out enough to kill them within a half an hour to an hour. They'd be floating on the top. So I do have a group of nano blue tetra or dwarf tetra. They're known also in the Spanish word is mojarita is the Spanish name for them, but it's a Titiocharax tobampatensis is the taxonomy of that fish. It's really cool Titiocharax tetra. It's really small. It doesn't get much bigger than about 3/4 of an inch. So I love the little nano fish, and it works well for me with being stuck with a little bit smaller aquariums. Being here in the Caribbean, not really having access to purchasing large aquariums. So I have them in a tank. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys those in just a little bit. I got a camera set up in the other room, ready to rock and roll, so you can catch a glimpse of those. I just fed them some food, so they're gonna be running around cleaning up the tank. So they'll be pretty active. They're pretty active anyways. I do plan on breeding them. It's going to be a long process though, because I'm going to have to create a 10-gallon infusoria tank, and it's going to take a few months to really cycle that tank and build up the infusoria and the microorganisms in that aquarium. And there'll definitely be some microscope videos in regards to that as I get closer and I start looking at all the different microorganisms that are starting to build up in the ecosystem in that aquarium. And then I will release a few pairs of these nano blue tetra into that aquarium, let them spawn their egg scatterers. As far as we know, there's really not a lot of information on the courtship behaviors and the breeding behaviors of this fish. It is on the red list. It is a least concern, but it is on the red list due to the illegal gold mining that takes place in Peru. It definitely is. It could possibly cause them to become endangered because of all the poisoning from the mercury, which is a byproduct of gold mining. Let's see. Thank you, Chris, for saying that right there. Let's see. Let's see who else. Any questions? I'm just chilling out, so I'm totally up. You can't pet your fish. I can pet a couple of my fish. I don't want to. My eel, I could pet my eel, but he's got some pretty big teeth. He's pretty blind too, so I don't want him to mistake my finger for a shrimp. I'm not going to take that risk, but I have pet him before. A little slimy eel with scaleless fish. Someone was asking, your wild guppies have pink in them. I don't have necessarily pink. I guess you could call it pink when the light hits it just right. I consider it more of a purple. My wild guppies do have purple in them. I guess you might find some pink here or there. But for the most part, they have have purples. Purple and orange. Blue Waters, how are you? What did you say? What did you say, Priscilla? Oh, that was cute. You can come pet my fur. It wasn't a joke. Let's see. Alluring betas. What did we say? Yeah, 2019. Good luck with that new camera. Awesome. Friday Fish Facts, how are you? Good to see you up in here. It was really nice hanging with him in his live stream. I was interviewed by him on, what was it, the 28th? On the 28th. I did an interview with him on his channel. That was really fun. Obviously, I'm a big talker. I wasn't trying to like take over his his. I tried to tone it down, but yeah, I just kept going there. Let's see, Dean's Fish Room. How are you? What is up? Come. Let's see the micro blue tetra. Micro. I love how you call them micro blue tetra. I was looking them up. They're also called the dwarf tetra, or the mojarita is the Spanish name for them. But a dwarf tetra or dwarf neon tetra. I was trying to get an angle with the camera so that you could kind of catch that reflection. Dean knows what I'm talking about. But this fish is pretty much like clear, transparent looking fish. Kind of reminds you of like a glass catfish. Pretty kind of transparent and small. But when the light hits it, when you catch it like a 45, you get the light at the right angle, you get this awesome iridescent blue. And it's just like, it pops every once in a while when they're swimming just right against the light. It just pops. They're really cool. Very small and very fragile. Simply Beta, how are you? Taylor, what is up? Good to see you up in here. Let's see. So let's go ahead, I guess. Why not? Let's go ahead and check these guys out real quick, just so I'm not boring you with my ugly mug. Here we go. This is the tank. This is in the other room right now. This is the tank. You probably saw the setup that I did on this tank, this scape. I filmed this scape. There's a video a few weeks back on the scaping of this aquarium. I've since added a lot of leaf litter. There's a mixture of leaves, mostly Catapa West Indian almond leaf here in this aquarium. But these are the Tetracharax tubompetensis, the dwarf neon tetra. And you can kind of see a little hint of blue in some of them. But when the light hits them just right, they'll pop with this iridescent blue. They're really, really fun fish. And the largest ones in here are maybe 1 inch in length, but they're just really cute, delicate, small fish. They're perfect for like a nano aquascape. They're not seen in the hobby too much because they are so fragile, so when it comes to transporting them and shipping them, you can definitely expect some losses. I had 20 of them shipped to me and I had 1 death. I kind of expected more, having had some experiences with these fish in person, and I really kind of expected more deaths when they arrived. I was expecting, who knows what, half of them to be dead, maybe even, just because they're so fragile. And I was really happy to only have 1 death when they arrived. Yeah, but the camera doesn't do it justice. You really have to see these fish in person, and when they get that little flash of blue, it just catches your eye. And they just are perfect for like a little nano aquascape. I'm very much a species tank kind of guy. I don't want to mix things up, so that's the only thing in this aquarium. They technically have to go through quarantine still. I've only had them for about 3 days, so I've just finished filming the video, all the content for the unboxing video, and that will be coming out. So this is kind of a little sneak peek on them. So they're really cool. The video, I'm gonna get a little bit closer, more closer shots, and you're gonna actually probably get to see a little bit of those pops of blue. But maybe here, I don't feel like I'm really getting to see what you can see in person. And this web camera that I have on them is not like top notch. If I had my Sony rolling in there, that would look, you might get a little better look at that. Let's see. I see I have my beta sorority up in here. Desert Bloom betas, Simply betas. You got the koi beta fin addicts, but he's not he's not necessarily part of the sorority. That's just the little nickname we got going on with the female beta fish keepers and breeders here. Let's see. I know that I don't want to lose everybody to her premiere, but Simply Betas has a video coming out today. You can catch it after my live stream if you want to hang out with me, but she's gonna be doing a premiere sometime soon today, and I think that's on a leopard gecko, on a lizard of, I believe it's a leopard gecko, I believe. I could be wrong. Anyways, let's see here. Dean, what was, let's see, wait, Honeybee. thank you about the aquascape. Yeah, I'm all about leaf litter. Leaf litter is so very important, especially with this species. The environment that they come from is pretty much a blackwater environment. They honestly like more of a sandy bottom. I have EcoComplete in this aquarium right now, just to help kind of buffer the water column and kind of lower the pH a little bit. They can actually handle a broad spectrum of pHs, but they, pH levels. You don't want to have them too acidic. Definitely a little bit higher up, like 6, 8, 7. So a little bit more of a neutral pH is probably the best place to be with them. So the leaf litter in here, I've heavily boiled it. There's definitely some tannins you can see going on in here. So it is technically a black water environment, but I've purposely kind of boiled down the leaves a little bit to get a little bit more of the tannins out before they went into this aquarium, so it's not too much of like a black water aquarium. And I'm just going to monitor the pH, but there's not enough leaf litter in here, or at least not enough at this time, to really drop that that pH. One thing to keep in mind, the reason why a lot of people go for West Indian almond leaves, there's lots of different leaves you can put in the aquarium, but when you do the math, when it's scientifically been like tested, West Indian almond leaves lower the pH a lot more than other dried botanicals. They're probably the best dried botanical when it comes to if you're trying to lower the pH. So I do have some other leaves in here. I have some mango leaf and some other palm frond and stuff like that in this aquarium as well. But I'm just trying to recreate their natural environment to a certain extent. Now, I don't have any other floating plants. They really like to hide out underneath of floating plants. They like to hide out under the shrubbery that would hang over the edge of the water. They like to hang out on the banks of the water and hide out underneath of those. And I did hear a rumor from somebody that these fish like to lay their eggs up on these leaves that are dipping into the water. I'm not sure about that because most tetras are more of an egg scatterer. We don't know for sure if this egg is actually like a sticky egg or not. So there's really not a lot known about this fish. There's probably a handful of people that have this fish in their possession right now. I only know of 3 people, including me, that actually have this fish in captivity right now. Like I said before, it's not really in the trade because it's so fragile. So you're not going to really find this in the pet store. It has been in pet stores before. But you're probably real lucky. You'll be really lucky if you do find this actual specific fish. And there's other Tetracharax that you probably might find in the fish store, but not this one so much. It's found in about 3 different rivers in South America. So through Peru and Colombia is where you're going to find this fish, in little tributaries to the Amazon. But the leaf litter is really nice to have in there for a couple of different reasons. These fish probably will eat their own eggs and their own fry if they can find them and get a chance to do that. I have no other species in here, so I don't have to worry about any other predators except for themselves. So there is this like dreamy idea of mine that if I get a nice of enough and a thick of enough layer of leaf litter in this aquarium, that I could probably, they might actually just spawn in here and not be able to get to the eggs, and the eggs might have a chance, and they're gonna be like a microscopic fry. So their first foods is gonna be infusoria, gonna be microorganisms, but they're gonna eventually, within the next month or so, there's gonna be plenty of infusoria in this aquarium, breaking down that leaf litter and all throughout that mulm and whatnot in the substrate, on the surface of the substrate and whatnot. That's not jungle fowl. That is some crazy grass that I actually have in another aquarium. And that grass, that's actually a bundle tied. I was trimming it out of another aquarium because it puts off little shoots and it just goes all over the place. It was kind of taking over in my little aquarium back here in the bottom left for you guys, I believe. And so I trimmed a whole bunch of it out of there. And I bundled up, so there's actually like 6 individual plants bundled up in a piece of sponge with a lead weight on that wrapped around it. So that's actually not one plant, that's like 6 plants in a bundle. And it's got a little bit of blackbeard algae on it, but it's funny, since as I put it in there the tannins are high enough and the pH is low enough in this aquarium that blackbeard algae is just browning out, turning red. It's dying on the so it's not really live and active. That blackbeard algae is on its way out. That's one cool thing that I do like about blackwater aquariums is when you're dealing with blackwater, for one, you have a lower amount of light in the aquarium, so photosynthesis isn't going to be the same, and then the acidity of the aquarium and the tannins actually affect the growth of algae, so it's kind of helps lower your chances of actually even having algae in the first place. But at the same time, you're not going to have as many options for aquatic plants. And some of these plants in here might not like heavy tannins. That's another reason why I'm not letting it go black water. There's a tank right above this in this rack that has like super black water. Like you can't even really see through it at all. It's like coffee. And that tank just has a couple of wild guppies in it right now, and I'm cycling that aquarium for a pair of betta fish, some spiragnina, copper wild spiragnina that'll be I'll be collecting in March. So I did see a friend of mine in here that I just got a tank for. He just got a tank from Mad Fish Diva and Angel Munez, which is a friend of mine in here. And I just purchased some stuff for him off of Amazon, some things to help his tank get going. You know, some stuff. He'll see it. It's coming in the mail. Kind of want it to be a little bit of a surprise, but there's some cool stuff. A little bit of a Christmas present and a fish keeping present. So just some other things to help him kind of get that tank running properly. But he was asking me about cycling the aquarium because he just set it up and went and got a guppy and put it in there. And I was kind of warning him to be a little careful with that. But at least it was a guppy. Of all the things, guppy is probably the first thing you want to put in an aquarium. And if you're gonna risk the chance of putting it in there before the tank has cycled. But what I was mentioning to him is that like a tank should. Some people cycle a tank for a long time. My father, in the saltwater world, he will cycle a tank for a year, just live rock and live sand for a whole year before he adds anything else to it. This betta fish tank that I'm working on, I'm going to let it cycle for 3 months. There's a couple of guppies in there to help kind of create some fish poop and kind of get some stuff going on in there. And I'm just going to let it cycle out for about 3 months before I ever introduce betta fish into the aquarium. And of course the guppies will come out, or they will become food, or just get stressed out and die. What was Dean was asking? You definitely have both. Definitely have both sexes. Yeah, the little bit of the skinnier ones, the little bit longer, narrow, and skinny ones, I believe, are the male, and the little rounder, wider ones are the females. They definitely have two different body shapes, and from what I found on a couple different websites, I could see the bone structure. They had some images of the fish and the bone structures. Got a big truck going by, and it's pretty interesting that the bone structure of the male and female are different. And the male of this nano blue tetra, he has a lot more. He's got like twice as many teeth, and his teeth kind of come out a little bit. And they look like they would be like a piranha. If this was a big fish, they've got teeth like a piranha. They've got like 4 rows of teeth. They have about 50 to 60 teeth, as the males do specifically, and the females have about 20, 30, 35 teeth. And they have multiple rows that come out. But they look kind of vicious microscopically. But they have a little bit different bone structure in the tail, as well as the pectoral fin and the teeth. The mouth structure and the teeth are a little bit different. The male's teeth kind of hang out of the mouth a little bit on the top and on the bottom. So there's actually a lot of different things that you can look at to tell the difference between the males and the females. But this is there's 19 of them in here. There is one that has like a swollen head, like he definitely a little bit deformed. Has a little bit of a deformation or like a mutation or something. So I don't, and he's small, and he kind of tends to hide off on his own. So I don't think he's gonna last very long. I've been keeping my eye on him, but he doesn't look normal like the males or the females. There's definitely something wrong with him. So there's at least 18 healthy fish in here for sure, which is definitely a decent group when it comes to to breeding. We've got questions, lots of question marks. Can you put garden grass in aquariums? Garden grass. I don't know specifically what garden grass is. I don't know what garden grass is. But if it's an aquatic plant or a plant that likes to be in water or submerged in water, I'm sure that it would work in an aquarium. It'd probably be something cool you'd want to put in like a betta fish tank. But you're going to want to have your lights raised up higher and have some way for that plant to get photosynthesis on the outside of the tank. That's for sure. But yeah, I'm loving these fish. They're great, perfect little nano fish for a little nano aquascape. This is a 10-gallon aquarium. I would like to have them in a little bit bigger aquarium, but they're fine. Another thing that I have going on in here is you can see the roots from above there a little bit. I have duckweed in this aquarium, and the duckweed is just to kind of make them feel a little bit more comfortable, because in the wild this fish likes to hang out and hide out underneath the shrubbery on the bank, likes to have some coverage over its head to feel a little bit safer. So just in a hopes to kind of, to relax this fish a little bit and make them feel a little bit more comfortable, because they do like to come to the surface and skim and eat stuff off of the surface. That's how they were acting in the wild as well when we were in Peru. So just so that they can come higher to, up to the surface and feel comfortable, I put that that duckweed in there, and it seems like it definitely made a difference. They're definitely a little bit more comfortable coming up to the top of the tank. But I might actually even go with some fake plants or find something else, some water hyacinth, or I don't know. I got to come up with something that I don't have in my possession, or it would have been in this tank already. I was even thinking about just floating some anubias, letting some anubias just float. So I got some pretty big fat anubias that would just float on the surface and give them some coverage, some a little bit broader leaves and stuff. So there's that, and then there's always the option, Dean was mentioning to me, there's always the option of doing, even just like a spawning mop or something, hanging a spawning mop over the edge and just having that floating on the surface to create some coverage and make them feel a little bit more comfortable. And maybe if they do have like more of a sticky egg thing that they do, they might scatter some eggs within the Java moss. I'm sorry, not Java moss, but the spawning mop. Bam Aquatics, how are you? Good to see you in here, man. Good to see you here. Oh, I need to scroll through here trying to read all this stuff. Nice to see all my beta people in here. I'm definitely can't wait to jump into this. I just kind of want to just go to the fish store here and just buy some beta fish, but I'm trying to control myself and wait, because I'd rather than buy some beat up fish from this pet store that's here and probably having something that's got fatty liver and probably carrying diseases and viruses and who knows what else. I'd rather just wait to get some quality bred betas that are healthy and have been properly fed as fry and have a healthy intestinal tract and immune system and all that good stuff. It's definitely worth its while, because a lot of people will get these domesticated betas from the pet store and they wonder why they only last a year, and part of it is just the way that they are bred and what they're fed from wherever they're being farmed, somewhere in someone's backyard in Thailand or something. Water lettuce was an option. Or some water sprite floating at the surface. Yeah, Dean, that was another option that I'm thinking about. Now, Dean has a few of these too. Dean has 5 of these fish as well. And then there's another gentleman that has another group. Well, I thought Michael Barber was keeping the other half of this group that he brought back, but I believe that they're going to someone else. I'm just gonna wait. We'll wait and see what happens with that. But those would be the other 2 people that I know of that have these fish in captivity. I don't know of anybody anywhere in any other fish community or like pet stores that actually have this stuff, but who knows, probably some out there somewhere. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that, Big City Betas. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm really holding out for the copper sparagnida, and I'm gonna I'm just gonna get those when I come to the at Aquashella. I'll probably just collect those from you at Aquashella. Oh, Dean, and yeah, Dean's got the macrostomas. I'm holding out for that. I'm not really ready for macrostoma, and I feel like they're kind of a little overrated, but because it's the thing. But at the same time, there's so many other wild species of betta fish out there that have kind of got me captivated, and there's a lot to learn, a lot more than I thought. I've kind of a little overwhelmed with information and different the behaviors of different species of wild bettas. And obviously wild bettas is where I'm at. I mean, there's lots of cool domesticated bettas and pretty cool stuff. Big City Bettas just did a video on a spawning of her domesticated bettas, and they're pretty cool. It was really cool. It's a really cool video. You should check it out if you're interested in actually breeding betta fish. You should go through the whole process, and it is really cool. Really cool. Definitely some good information there if you're interested in breeding betta fish. But I'm definitely sold on the wilds, as you probably know from a lot of my content and the stuff that I have in my fish room at this point. I'm really sold on wild fish. I just feel like I just like fish that kind of either F1, F2 generations of wild caught fish, or actually wild caught fish, just because they still have that instinctual behavior in them. And I feel like they actually probably, in a way, they breed better as long as you give them the proper conditions. Just like angelfish, for example, domesticated angelfish, fancy angels, veil-tail angels, stuff like that. They've been bred in captivity for so long that they've actually bred out their natural instinct to parent raise. A lot of them, you can kind of train them sometimes and get them to parent raise, but in a lot of cases, domesticated angelfish don't even know how to parent raise anymore, and if you do not remove those eggs, you're not going to have any luck with it. They're going to eat them. So like if I was going to do angelfish, I'd love to have them actually parent raise if I could. So I'd have to get a hold of a pair of wild caught, some like Altum angels or something like that is what I would prefer to do. Like my angelfish, they always eat the eggs. Obviously, tank's got too much activity going on in front of it, so they're probably going to eat them anyways. But it's one of those things. You definitely want to give them some privacy so they don't eat the eggs. But wild fish, I feel like, just do a lot better job at instinctually like parent raising their fry. We have Aquarium Co-op. What's up, Corey? How are you? Good to see you up in here. Just chilling out, showing off a little bit of my the neons, the little neons that I got from Peru. Michael Barber went ahead and sent me a little group of these, and I'm really excited about that. I really do appreciate that. And I've been thinking about doing some stuff. Like, I've been interested in doing some trips to a trip maybe to Peru again, but maybe something a little bit different. I don't know if anybody else is up for that, but I'll talk about that more when we get closer to it. But one of my childhood kind of dreams, and one of my dreams from my youth, was to do expeditions. I always wanted to have like an expedition company, and one of my biggest fears was the whole thing of like having to have $1 million liability insurance and all the money that you'd have to put out just to protect yourself against lawsuits and all this crazy stuff. And that's kind of what had held me back. Like, I have all my first aid, first responder training. I've done that multiple times, and it's nothing for me to go take another class, take another first responder class, and be approved and do all that stuff to be able to handle, crowd control and all that kind of stuff from working on boats and stuff like that. I can handle that part, but it's the $1 million liability insurance and, putting up the money up front. But I've always wanted to get into expeditions, and I've been talking with some people more and more, and I'm really, really interested in the idea of creating some pretty cool fish collecting or observing, expeditions where we could go out and just observe fish in their environment, have a chance to film them, maybe get some other YouTubers to collab like we did when we went to Peru, and go and get the chance to film some of this stuff. Not necessarily collecting, yes, collecting a little bit here and there when it's right, but there's a right time and place. This is a right time and place to collect and take stuff out of the wild, that's for sure. Let's see. Let's see. It's cool to see everybody up in here. It's really cool to see Corey making it in here for a second, because I know he's a busy guy. This is like crunch time when it comes to business or anything right now. This is the time of the year to to crunch it. I see everybody doing that right now. King Lee's going nuts. He's got boxes going out every day. Corey's spending half his every day in the shipping dock, working and packaging stuff up. LR Bretts is going crazy right now, trying to get all of his Christmas stuff out. Everybody's working hard, and this is crunch time. It's time to rake it in while you can, get it all in for the end of the year. So good luck with that. I hope that everybody makes a killing this year, and Christmas is good for everybody, because it's time of the year to do it. But I wanted to go ahead and move the tank to my wild guppies. I will do that in a little bit. I just really don't want to get up out of this chair and go mess around with the camera. That's honestly the thing. I don't want to go mess around with it too much and waste too much time doing that. Yeah, I don't know what sales. I think Corey's still got some sales going on. I don't know what's going on right now. I've been trying to keep up on that and share that with you guys when we've got stuff coming up. But he's been doing like a different sale. Like I think it's like every week he's got something new coming up on his website for you guys. Let's see. And I do have a little bit of surprise, but I can't really talk about it too much. But I am working on a product of my own. But it's still I'm in the process of creating a prototype. So when we get farther along with that prototype, if things start to work out and all of the components come together properly and it works well, I will be sharing that with you. But all I'm saying right now is I am working on a product. I am working on something, and that's all I can say. But it's kind of exciting for me. It's the first time I've ever been in like the prototype process of trying to create something from scratch and kind of patent something in a sense. And create my own thing, put my name on it. That's really a cool idea. So I'm working on that. So that's something you guys can keep an eye out for coming up eventually, maybe by spring. I think if it's going to happen, it'll be out by spring. It'll be available to the public by spring. Let's see. Pizza. Oh, breakfast pizza. Dean, don't talk about pizza. It's a sad subject. I miss making my pizza. It is a true passion of mine. Comes real close to the fish hobby. I tell you that. The two of those are neck and neck when it comes to me. I really do love my real pizza. But one day, someday, maybe I need to go talk to Felix, and we need to work on that pizza project in Peru. Go open up a pizzeria in Puerto Maldonado. That would be really cool. Let's see. Oh, screen just went on me. On my other computer over here. It's getting nice and hot in here. Turn off the AC so it's nice and dark and it looks good. I got the the shades up, but I'll tell you what, it's starting to warm up in here. Just a little bit. Yeah, it's a sacrifice you make, right? That's for sure. I'm looking for any questions because I'm just chilling today. I really just wanted to share those Nano Blue Tetra with you guys. I really didn't have any serious subject. Like I said, I will, when I get closer here to the end, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys those wild guppies for a second, just because a few people had asked to see them, and I don't want to not share those with them. Yeah, Toki's is asking again for the guppies. These are wild guppies from the Virgin Islands here. They've got some pretty cool colors in them, lots of different, a mix of colors, and I'm really not sure exactly what they are. I guess they're pretty much just wild guppies. The university here just calls them wild guppies. Breakfast pizza with cheese, Nutella, hazelnut, what? I don't know about that, but I used to make a Nutella pizza with Nutella and just Nutella powdered sugar. Sometimes I'd take Nutella and put a couple of dollops of mascarpone cheese and some powdered sugar. That's pretty sweet. Or you can do Nutella and banana slices on pizza. Yeah, that actually goes really well. The best thing to do is just make like a focaccia, make a flatbread, and then when you pull it out of the oven, then you just smear Nutella all over it like you're like a piece of toast. Because the Nutella will break in the oven, especially at high heats, it will get funny on you. So it's best to put it on afterwards and just let it melt, and it gets awesome. Very cool. I'm just trying to keep an eye on this chat over here and see if anybody's got any cool stuff. People have been asking me to do that, to actually mix my wild strain of guppies with more of domesticated fancy guppy strain, and that's just not my thing. Like, I could do that, but I just don't have an extra tank to play in that project. If I had an extra tank right now, I'd be mixed breeding some of my Caridina shrimp, because I have a big thing for I've got a dreamy idea of creating a little bit of a different strain. I have my idea of mixing a couple of different strains of Caridina shrimp together, coming up with something a little different. I've been thinking about that for years, so it's not really a plan for me right now, but it's totally something I'd like to see someone else do. It might be something I do here in the future. I don't know. I just have to have an extra tank to play with that. I would like to take my albino guppies that I have. I do have a strain of albino guppy, and mix the albino guppy with the wild strain. That's probably what I would do if I was going to do that. Virgin and guppies, 2 words not often used in the same sentence, right? Well, let me go ahead. I don't want to run away from the camera really, but let me go ahead and go in this other room real quick. And I'm going to move this camera to another spot real quick so you can check out these local wild guppies that I have here. What temperature am I keeping the blue tetra at? They are in my kitchen, which is actually the warmer room. I know I should probably be keeping them at a little bit cooler temperature probably, but my whole house stays permanently air conditioned except for when I stream and I turn it off. So let's see. Right now, the temperature in there is probably on that aquarium. I have to check it. I don't know where my infrared thermometer is at the moment. I don't want to waste too much time, but I think it's about 76 degrees with the air conditioner running. Without the air conditioning in this house, the tanks can get a little bit higher, about 78, 79 degrees. Greg Jones, how are you? Good to see you here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this camera onto my wild guppies, my Virgin Island local wild guppies. 1 second. They look so blown out from the lighting. I don't know if I can do anything about that. I can lower the exposure. Maybe. Nope, it won't let me mess with it. Oh. No. White balance. No, no, no. There we go. That's better. Lower the exposure a little bit on that, and you can actually see them a little bit better. Let's see. Let me raise the camera up a little bit. That's the cool thing, is I got the remote here going on the camera, and I could probably move my ugly mug over here so you don't have to worry about me in the way of them. So that's them. That's the little boogers right there. This is a local strain of wild guppy. They're all crazy. They thought I was gonna feed them, I think, so they're all going crazy in the front of the glass there. But these guys are pretty cool. There's lots of different colors. I really like the ones that have a little bit more of like a tiger stripe tail. You know, like a kind of remind me of a tiger endler. So I've been trying to pick out the ones with the tiger striped tails with the more of that tiger pattern, and put those aside and see if I can kind of selectively breed that out a little bit. That would be really cool. But as far as I know, this is just technically a wild guppy. There is a lot of characteristics of an endler though that I do see in these guys. They do tend to have a lot of similar patterns. You can tell, you can see that there's this orange spot near the tail. A lot of them do also have that green spot right before the tail starts, which is very significant to you know, an endler. They do have two black dots. They have a black dot closer up in the center of them, and they also have a black dot near the tail. And these are things that I've noticed to be similar, you know, to you know, just repetitive in many of the males here. Like I was saying, you can see that black dot, that green spot near the tail, like an endler would have. So I'm not sure. There is a new species of guppy out there. It's called an obscura, and it's found in like 2 waterways in Trinidad. It's the only place where it's been found. It's technically has its own. The DNA is different, so they've named it obscura, and I really feel like a lot of the characteristics of this guppy is very, very, very similar to that guppy from Trinidad. And also some characteristics from guppies from different places in South America, from Colombia and stuff like that, from endlers from Colombia. But Adrian HD, I've been keeping up with him, and I really need to go ahead and just send him some of these guppies. I'd like to have him take a look at them, maybe be able to do some DNA tests or look at them under the microscope and be able to, you know, just let me know if he really, what he really thinks they are. But first glance, he says they just look to be wild guppies. But I don't know if Greg Jones is still in there, if you can check this out. But these fish were kind of caught for Greg Jones in from Rack from River Life. And it's kind of funny because now, well, it's not funny, it's kind of frustrating because now I have a tank of like 200 of these guys, and they're making babies. There's plenty of babies you can see in the background and that hanging out in the floating Anubias that is in here. And there's a whole bunch of them down below in the Java moss that I have in this aquarium. There's all kinds of little babies going on. So it's the problem is the weather now. Now it's winter time, so I really can't ship from here. It's really difficult for me to ship to the Caribbean, you know, from the Caribbean, because okay, so leaving from here, you don't want to have a heat pack in there. You're just going to cook your fish, because from here to Puerto Rico and before they hit the mainland, it's going to be actually pretty warm. And then once they hit the mainland, they're going to need the heat pack. So it's like it's a reverse thing. By the time they get to the States, the heat pack's going to be wearing off, and that's when they're going to need it. So it's like you need some like time-released heat pack that like activates after 48 hours. That's an invention I need. That's what I would really need to be able to ship these right now. So I really don't want to risk the lives of these fish. But I really was planning on sending some of these to Greg Jones. He's been asking for them for about a year, and so has Rack. So that's who these fish really belong to. They've gone through a quarantine process, have been medicated. The only thing they haven't been medicated with that I normally would work with right now is levamisole. So they do need to get hit with levamisole for about a week or 2. They'll probably give them 2 courses of levamisole just to make sure the rest of the intestinal worms and things like that are out of these guys, and they're pretty healthy. But they seem to be pretty healthy because they are breeding, they're actively breeding in this aquarium, and it's like the population has almost doubled since they've been in here. So So we'll see what happens with them. I might have to just go ahead and re-release them if I can't just ship them out. I could have to wait until spring. I might get. I don't know how many I can put in a bag. I might get away with bringing them to Aquashella and giving them to Greg at Aquashella, but that's kind of a crazy thing to be doing, moving fish. But then again, that's what a lot of people are doing at Aquashella, bringing them in and selling them, and people are flying back out with them. So I don't know. I'll have to see about that. We'll have to see about that. But let's see. It's cool to see everybody hanging out in here. I really do appreciate y'all popping in and hanging out in the stream. This is fun stuff. Like I said before, you guys are my fish club. You guys are my fish keeping community. So I really do enjoy having this time with you guys on my Sunday afternoon. I've got the house to myself for like the next week. It's a good thing. I kind of can stay up late, edit, do what I want, hang out, and keep all my camera equipment out and make a big mess with all my aquariums, and I don't have to worry about anybody complaining about it. So I've been enjoying that, keeping tubs all over the place, and you know, fish keeping mess. We all know about the fish keeping mess that can quickly occur. Let's see, Candy Overhaul, it's good to see you in here. Hope you're doing well. The Cove, it's nice to see you here as well. Shishi's Betas, good to see you in here. I saw you in I think you were in D's in Down the Wormhole stream as well earlier. Teresa Cookie, how are you? The Gappies, can you show all my Gappies? Well, this is the wild guppies here, and then I do have some Endler live bears, but they are in grow out tubs, so they're not in like a glass aquarium, so I can't really show them off. Can't really show off the Endler live bears that I have, and it's actually like, I think there's a little bit of guppy in them as well. They came from Seagrass, Imperial Tropical, I believe. Imperial Tropical is where those and they were just like a mixed guppy bag, you know, like they just called them mixed guppies, so I'm sure that they were just a bunch of guppies in there mixed with guppy and Endler, but they had some really, they were definitely mostly Endler from the looks of the color, the pattern on them. So I tried to pull out the nicest ones that were really more like straight up Endler. They didn't have a huge top fin or whatever. So I've been culling them out and fine tuning them a little bit, trying to selectively breed them and get the Endler going good on them, and they're looking pretty good. I definitely have to go through this next week here. I've been saying it for about 2 weeks now. I need to go ahead and clear them out, cull them all out, get my select like 10 or 15, and get rid of the rest. But I have two 15-gallon tubs full of them. Candy, I don't mean to miss you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Mike from Mass, how are you? I was in your live stream last night for a while. You ended it just in time. That's all I'm gonna say. Lisa KG Tropicals, how are you? Good to see you here. I'm waiting to see some all-girl live streams from you. I'm also waiting to see some beta sorority live stream that I kind of heard about through the grapevine. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for some more of these all-girl live streams, because there's a lot of good females in this fish keeping community. There's a lot of you in this chat right here. I really do. I think that people, I don't think that there's a lack of female content creators on YouTube. I don't think there's a lack of that at all. I think that when it comes to viewership, yes, it tends to be less females viewing fish keeping content, but I think that there's so many females in this hobby, especially when you go to you go to conventions in person and you actually get to see the amount of females in this hobby. There's definitely no lack of females, but I do have to say though that the females that are content creators here on the platform, you're very much an inspiration to a lot of other female content creators. So I just have to say, you all need to just keep up the good work, keep creating good content, and just continue to be inspiration to all the other female content creators. But there's a whole bunch of you up in here, you know? Like, I just hate it when people say there's not enough females in this hobby, because that's so wrong. I don't believe it to be true. Another thing about these guppies that you might be able to notice is where they do have the black spot on them, it's usually always surrounded by a metallic ring. It's more of like a silvery, like more of a blue metallic, silver metallic ring that usually always surrounds the black dots on these. And there is a couple of species or different strains of Endler that Adrian HD has found that have that characteristic going on. So it's really hard for me to like call these wild guppies for sure. There's just, I don't feel like there's enough known about them. The university, like I said, the university here in the U.S. Virgin Islands calls them wild guppies, but I don't think they've taken a lot of time with them. I don't know that they've even DNA tested them. The ichthyologist over at the university, I've been trying to email her, and I don't know if she's left her position since the hurricane, but I haven't gotten a response from her, and I need to just go over there and hunt her down. Her and her husband are both work with the university, and supposedly they have lots of fish tanks and stuff like that. I'd love to get them on camera, interview them if I could. Yes, Big City Beta says they're starting next weekend. So starting next weekend, and I believe, I don't want to like, I don't want to just completely guess or assume, but I'm pretty sure their live stream, the Beta Sorority live stream, is going to be all girls, obviously, Beta Sorority. It's going to be an all-girl Beta Fish live stream that I believe is going to be taking place at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I could be wrong about that, but I think I thought that that's what, yeah, that's what I heard through the grapevine. But I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on that for sure, but I believe that's the plan. I definitely look forward to that. Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna let me name this wild guppy. But if I do create, if I do selectively breed these wild guppies, I'm looking at breeding something that's kind of like a tiger endler, but whether it be a wild guppy or not, but it'll be completely from this strain, from this wild caught strain of guppy. I won't be introducing anything else to create that, and that's kind of my goal, is creating like a tiger-tailed wild guppy, because I see that characteristic in a lot of them. It tends to show up, the black and yellow in the tail, and if I could just isolate that out a little bit more, I could even handle it where like it is almost like a tiger endler. Like there's one that just swam by that literally even had yellow, orange, like fading from yellow into orange, and then it had that black outline on the outside of the tail right there in the middle of the screen. Yeah, and there's actually a little line of black around the edge as well. And that guy specifically is mine. Nobody's getting that guppy. So I'm just gonna literally take out like a handful, 3 or 4 or 5 of the nicest males that have the characteristics I'm looking for, and pick some young females that are virgins out of here, and work with them. Maybe females that kind of look like they have a little bit more yellow in their tail, because there is some female guppies in here that tend to have a little bit more of a yellow tint in their tail. So I would take those, work with that, and then go collect some more out of the wild and keep trying to pull those characteristics from ones that I've collected in the wild, and just kind of, cull it out and isolate them down and see what I can get. One of them kind of things that takes years. It's just something you do on the side in a couple of your tanks, and it just, you work on it over 3 or 4 years and then see what comes of it. Kind of like Lucas Brett has done with his Tiger Endler strain. He worked on that for years to get to that point. Greg Jones is in the house. I don't know if I said hi already to you. E-Money Cichlids, good to see you in here as well. And that does remind me, seeing Greg Jones in here, it reminds me about a couple of things. But one thing is the fact that if you are interested in the My Aquarium box, if you don't know what the My Aquarium box is, My aquarium box is a subscription box that you can get monthly. They have a couple of different boxes. They have a freshwater, saltwater box. They got a lot of other cool products that I really do enjoy. I think they even have a hardscape box that you can get, and they just have a lot of their own labeled, or their own products, different fish foods, and filter products, stuff like that. There's so many things. It's like I can't even think of it all. But you have to go check out their website. But I believe it is just myaquariumbox.com. But I do have a discount code for them. If you go ahead and type in JHMAB, if you go to My Aquarium Box and you are interested in going ahead and signing up for that subscription box, which is really cool. It's like getting a Christmas present like every month. You don't know what's in it. I'm always waiting for mine to come in, and when it gets here, it's like I try to hold off, but I come right home and I tear into it. And you never know what's going to be in it, and there's always something cool. Like, I've been getting it now for about 1.5 years, and for the price, I think it's very reasonable, and it's just fun to have this little bit of a surprise. Oh yeah, it's MABJH, right? Well, hopefully if you get either of those, you'll support it. And that's going to be $5 off your first My Aquarium box, which is really cool. It's really cool though. I don't know. I get them every month, and they're just fun. There's always something different in there, whether it be some fish food or some of the new products. Sometimes they put a little piece of hardscape will be in there, or you know, a cool little piece of driftwood. So one time I got some Malaysian driftwood. I got some I can't even pronounce it right now. I also got some Malaysian driftwood, some spiderwood. There's been so many cool things. One thing that I did get recently that I'm really loving, and it's funny because I live here in the Caribbean and I can get them. So you would think that I could just get them, but they're not going to come in that condition. It's going to be it'd be a lot of work for me. But they sent a coconut with a hole in it. Just one hole in it, and it's working out perfect for my my dwarf cichlids as an epistogramma spawning cave. It's perfect. It's in this bow-faced tank behind me, and I had held on to it for a while. Once I got those rubelineatus, the epistogramma rubelineatus, which are wild caught from Peru, I threw that in there with them, and they're totally using it. They're nesting it. I got a male and a female that are loving that thing, and it's so cool. I almost want some more of them. Like, you would think I could go and get a coconut, but to get a coconut, not damage it, besides just getting one hole in it and then getting all the meat out of the inside as well, is kind of a little bit of a project. And I don't know what they do to actually process these coconuts to get all the coconut meat out of it and only leaving one little hole in it. Like, I'll leave that up to somebody else. So Greg, you can always throw one of those in one of my boxes, because the epistogrammas love it. They're perfect. It's good cover, because besides that, I have like Pleco caves that I get from you as well. I have a collection of Pleco caves from you, and I have no Plecos. So they've worked for the epistogrammas, except there's not enough protection from the eggs. I do actually have eggs in a Pleco cave right now, epistogramma eggs. I put the flashlight up in there last night and actually saw the eggs. It was really cool. But I need to start feeding. About this next week, I do have some new those old-fashioned little plastic tray brine shrimp hatcheries. To me, those are the best, and I've always wanted one, and they don't ship them to me, so I had to ship them to a friend in the States, and she's shipping them down, has shipped them down to me, and they'll arrive here on Monday. So I definitely look forward to getting. I bought 2 of them, and so I can just have them back to back, have one ready to go, and then pull brine shrimp from the other one. But it's like a little plastic tray, and you put the brine shrimp eggs on the outside, and the brine shrimp can go underneath, like I'm trying to think of the right word for it. Even as a plumber, I should know the right word for it. But the eggshells can't get past this point, but the shrimp can, and they'll come to the center, and you can kind of scoop them all up. And it's perfect if you're just doing a little bit of brine shrimp and you're not feeding like a whole fish room full of fish. If it had more fish, I'd probably want something else. But these are just perfect for my situation right now with 16 aquariums. And I can't wait for those to come in next week, because by then, if nothing else, or if the parents don't eat these eggs that are in this Pleco cave, I should have wigglers by like today or tomorrow, and they will have eaten their egg sack by Monday or Tuesday, and they will be ready for something else, and I will literally just squirt some brine shrimp up in there. So I'm looking forward to that. Ba-da-da-da-da. What do we got? I got all kinds of mods up in here. Professional mods. I got a whole mod squad going up in here right now. Pretty crazy. Who's still hanging out with me? 48 of you still hanging out with me. That's so awesome. I love it. I appreciate y'all hanging out. Whew, starting to get warm in here. I'm ready for AC. And it looks like I've met my 1 hour mark. It's 2 o'clock now. I don't know who else has got something going on. I do know that where is she? She's gone already. Simply Beta just did a video, and I know that she went live with it, premiered it at 1:30, halfway through my stream. She kind of tried to change it, but after she set the premiere, I don't think she was able to change it, and she wasn't home at like a desktop to do that. So she had to go ahead and roll with it. So at 1:30, she premiered a video. So you probably go check that out after this live stream if you're interested in seeing her stuff. I believe it is about a crested gecko. That's what it was, right? A crested gecko, I believe, but not beta fish. She's going with some. She's getting some lizards now. She's going with the reptiles on the side. So that might be interesting. I'm gonna go check that out after my stream. Let me go ahead and check this out. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and check out the stream right here. See if I missed anything else. Now, Mad Tanks, I wasn't ignoring you. Sorry, I did see you, but I'm sorry I didn't say hi earlier. Mad Tanks, good to see you here. Andrew, he's an awesome guy. He makes some really cool signage. We need to talk about the hashtag FishTube and the hashtag FishFam sign that you create out of wood. I'm sure there's people in here in this chat right now that would totally be interested in one of those. I wouldn't mind having one back here, probably right above this fish tank. If not, a sign right there. I'm really interested in a custom clock, the clock with that logo on it, and maybe like JH Aquatics kind of like curved up like that. I'd be totally into something like that right above that bow face tank, right in the middle of my stream, right back here. I think that would be pretty cool. It almost like forced me to like put a light up on the ceiling and shine it on it during my live stream so it looks cool and it shows up so everybody can see it. And it help remind me what time it is, so I know when I need to be getting off my live stream. Perfect place for it. But he makes some really cool wood products, a lot of stuff in relation to the fish community. But he can do custom stuff, anything you want to do. He can come up with it. He'll make it happen. So you check him out. He does have a website. It's madtankswithaz.com. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can post that if you want. You are a mod, so you should be able to post that if you want to. Go ahead and post the link to your website. Let's see. Yeah, crested gecko. Oh, she made a new enclosure for her crested gecko. Okay. All right, guys. I'm looking orange, Priscilla. It's called a sunburn. It's called working. It's called labor, hard labor. Maybe I need to do a little bit white balance maybe on this. I do have auto white balance, so this should. It's not perfect, but the white balance should be pretty good. It's probably a combination of lighting. See, I'm even more orange if I lower the lights. What happened there? Anyways, there's my lighting. That's all the way up, super bright. Got a little shine going on in the nose there. Anyways, it's so nice to have you all up in here. I really do appreciate it. This is one of my favorite days and times of the week, hanging out with my fish keeping friends here on YouTube. It is 3:09, so I'm 9 minutes over my time. Don't want to go too long. One other thing too, I'm going to try to figure out what's going on. We'll see if it happens this time. But last week and a couple of weeks ago, it happened again. YouTube has been having a little flutter thing, a little glitch with my stream specifically. I don't know if it's happened to anybody else, but after my stream is over, it takes like 8 hours for it to render and post it. It only shows like 3 minutes, like the last 3 minutes of my stream. So everybody that goes to it afterwards, they don't get to see the whole thing if someone's trying to watch me, someone coming in late. So maybe last week, if you didn't see the stream and you tried to pop in late, you saw like 3 minutes and 50 something seconds of the end of my stream, and I went ahead and took it off. I unlisted it until the whole thing rendered, buffered, and rendered the whole, hour and 8 minutes or 18 minutes or whatever it was. So just in case you were looking for it last week and you saw something crazy like that, that's what it was. And the reason why it was down for a while is I was waiting for it to completely render, so people weren't wasting their time and missing the whole stream if they're actually trying to watch it in a later date, and while they're doing water changes or something like that. So I don't know what that glitch is. Obviously, I'm not big enough to complain to YouTube. I did send them, or I did report it, like through the video. You can send a report issues, and I don't know if you're gonna fix it for the long haul or not. Oh, Matt, I think this is part of it too. You might be right. Chris from Multi-Tanks Edition said, "Don't close OBS right away. It has to compile and upload." But I can leave OBS open, but in the stream, obviously, right? So I end the stream and just leave it. Chris, like, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream on YouTube, and then I end the stream on OBS, but just let it stay open for a little while, I guess, is the idea. Send me some aloe vera for Christmas. You're so funny, Priscilla. Like, I don't have aloe vera outside. I do live in the Caribbean. It's everywhere. Believe me. You are funny. Alright, well, I will try that, Chris. I did hear something about that somewhere. Somebody had said something like that. So, and that was like a thought in my head, was maybe I was waiting. I wasn't, I was shutting everything down too quickly and closing everything out or something like that. Or not closing a window that I should have closed or something like that. I'm not sure. Anyways, very cool. We will try that and see what happens. Honeybee, you have a good one. I hope you feel better. I hope you're healing up. I don't know exactly what's going on. I haven't gotten exact details, but I know that you've been in and out of the hospital, and I just hope everything's working out for you, and my thoughts and prayers are going towards you on that, and I really hope that everything works out. I will keep a lookout for your posts and stuff like that as well. Bam! People getting hit by the moderators, even at the end of the stream. Taking care of business. Thank you, Candy. Alright, Honeybee, you take care. Priscilla, leave me alone about the orange face. The Oompa Loompa. I'm surprised you didn't call me an Oompa Loompa. Oh boy. Anyways, Fish Girl, it's nice to see you in here as well. So yeah, I just keep talking. I'm over. Knackered Aquarius, yes, may peace be with you. Live long and prosper, Knackered Aquarius. How often should you clean your 100-gallon aquarium? I don't know what you mean by clean it. I would do 20% water changes once a week. But I would never clean an aquarium. That's the worst thing you can do. Like, actually clean it. Like, you can scrape the algae off the glass. But I hate it when I hear about people that are like pulling all the rocks out of an aquarium and scrubbing everything down, because there's so much beneficial bacteria on the rock specifically. There's only so much beneficial bacteria in the aquarium itself. A lot of the beneficial bacteria is going to be on the surface of things. So all of your rocks, the substrate, literally the algae on the glass is places where that beneficial bacteria is going to take place. So I technically don't clean the algae off the sides. If you look back here on like this aquarium down here, you'll see green on that wall. And on all these aquariums, the side walls in the back of the aquarium, sometimes on the back I'll clean it off, like for a picture or something. But I only clean the algae off the face of the tank. I leave the whatever bit of algae and diatoms and whatnot, I leave that on the glass on the sides, and a lot of times on the back, because there's so much beneficial bacteria on the surface of the glass that's actually very, very helpful in balancing out your aquarium. So unless you just want a pretty tank, sometimes, you know, in a lot of cases, algae is a good thing. Um, and seeing algae when you're cycling a new tank, you definitely want to get through that process, and you want that algae to be there, and you want that algae to kind of fluff off naturally. That's when you know your cycle is doing well. That's another thing. I like to keep the algae on the glass so that you can kind of tell the state of your aquarium, because when things are really good and the cycle is really balanced, that algae is going to start being eaten up by other microorganisms and like fluffing off the aquarium on its own naturally. You won't even have to like scrape it off the glass. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Dean, about the blue tetra. I'm just going to keep them nice and happy and healthy. Starting Monday or Tuesday, they're going to be getting brine shrimp. And I also have microworm culture, and I believe grindle worms, microworms coming. I lost all my cultures, my live cultures, after the hurricane, and I haven't replaced my my live worm cultures, like my microworms and my grindle worms and stuff like that. So on Monday or Tuesday, when those brine shrimp hatcheries come in, I will also be getting in that box 2 different live cultures. So I will have plenty of different worms and brine shrimp, so that I can kind of give them a nice balance, a nice mix and assortment of things. So I'll be fattening them up with a lot of live foods, and just conditioning that tank and getting it really well seasoned with them in it, and we'll see what I can do. And then I'm going to set up another tank, and that's when we'll really go for it with an actual spawning program, like a little breeding program, and get this infusoria tank going. Which, like you were saying, Dean was explaining, an infusoria tank is its own process. It's just like keeping any other aquarium cycled, and you can crash it really easily too. You know, you got to keep it balanced. Oh, banana worms, Walter worms, and microworms. Awesome. Awesome. That's so cool. I appreciate that. So that'll be awesome. That'll be a nice little mix. And I will definitely be using those with my Epistogramma fry as well. And I'm just hoping that these Epistogramma don't eat the eggs this time. But I need more aquariums, right? That's the big problem, right? With everyone, we need more aquariums. The cat is tired of listening to me talk, and she's sleeping. She's sleeping. They're the stinkies. This is Nova. Nova, say hi. Say hi, Nova. She's like, you messing with me? I'm sleeping. This is Nova, the chocolate Siamese, and she's an awesome little kitty, except for when she goes like cray-cray mode. And cray-cray mode is like shooting across the house like a little rocket, and she makes this little noise, and he's like, she runs across the house and bounces off the wall. She literally bounces off the walls. It's kind of scary. And then every once in a while she'll just hide around a corner and wait for you to come around the corner, and she'll attack your leg and bite your ankle. She's a little monster, but she's like a little wildcat. Oh, you're so sweet. See, now she's sweet. She's sweet when she's sleepy and cuddly. She's sweet when she wants to be sweet, but when she's a monster, she's a monster. She's a monster sometimes. Anyways, that's little Nova. Alright guys, I should definitely get out of here. And I just have to train her to leave my aquariums alone. She's not even big enough to get crazy and get up into these aquariums. But one day we're going to have a problem. Aren't we? We're probably going to have a problem. Probably going to have a problems. Anyways. Alright. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate to all of you that subscribe to my content, like my content, all of you that share it, all of you that hang out here in my live stream. It means so much to me. I really do appreciate it. I mean that. Like I said before, you guys are my fish keeping community. This is my fish club, and it means so much to me. So I hope I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday. Enjoy it. All I can say is get out of the house, go enjoy the outdoors. Just go sit outside and watch the sunset or something. Don't spend all your time in front of a computer. And remember, guys, keep your tanks clean, your fish fed, and have fun.